Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. Today I decided that I'm going to share with you why we've chosen to do relaxed homeschooling in our house. It's actually a Three Little Bears story, almost the Three Little Bears of homeschooling. When we started out, I, like a lot of people who first start homeschooling, kind of thought of homeschooling as being a replica of public education as I knew it in our house. And what happened over time was that I was way too strict. I expected way too much. My kids ended up hating homeschooling, and I ended up getting burned out, and I sent my kids back to school for 2 years. Over that 2 years, I really started to miss homeschooling, and I was determined to bring them back home again, but to do things differently. So after I brought them home, I had done some more research on the different types of homeschooling, and I had started to relax a little bit. I was still doing, I think, a little bit too much at the time, but I was way better than when I first started. So once I started reading John Holt, I actually came across John Holt's book, Learning All the Time, which I highly recommend to anyone at all who is homeschooling their kids. It's phenomenal. And that book completely changed the way that I look at learning. And it really emphasized how naturally kids learn and how they do not need to be coerced into doing everything and all sorts of things, especially in a separated subject sort of way like schools do. It's just not necessary. So once I started reading that, I actually became intrigued with unschooling. And if you don't know what unschooling is homeschooling as if school didn't exist at all. There is no curriculum, there is no set aside teaching time. It's just pretty much child-led learning. They are just allowed to follow their interests, and everyone just lives their lives as if it was a weekend or like you live over summer vacation. So we actually decided to do that for a while, and we did do that for about 2 years. We were unschooling because I truly do see the value in natural learning and in play and in just letting kids do what interests them the most. Over time, though, what I noticed with my kids, now keep in mind that I do have 11 kids. We only have 10 at home because my oldest is 23. He doesn't live at home. But keep in mind that I have 10 kids, but when we were unschooling, what I eventually saw starting to happen was that our house was getting really chaotic. And I was starting to see that my kids were getting bored all the time. They were fighting all the time. Our house was a total wreck because the unschooling philosophy is pretty much to just let your kids do whatever interests them. So we literally had boxes all over the house because they like to make things out of boxes, and they would literally, you couldn't even walk on their bedroom floor. There were boxes everywhere. And it just got to the point where I was completely unhappy, and my kids, they just weren't loving learning as much as I thought they were going to. So what I decided to do was add a little bit more structure into our homeschool, and that is how we got to where we are today, which is relaxed homeschooling. And what relaxed homeschooling is that you do some structured learning in your home. But you don't make it last 6 hours a day. You don't break everything into separate subjects. You give your kids lots and lots of time to explore their interests, and you don't kill the love of learning by going overboard with things, which is what I did way at the beginning when I was trying to do school at home. So with relaxed homeschooling, the way that most people do it is just you focus on the 3 R's. That's what I found is really the mainstay with relaxed homeschooling, is a focus on the 3 R's. And the way that we do it is we really do tend to keep those lessons to about 10 to 15 minutes each. So say, for example, maybe 10 minutes of phonics or copy work, and then maybe 15, sometimes 20 minutes of math for the older kids. My younger kids, my littles, do math for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and that is it. And what we do now with my slightly older kids, my kids who are in upper elementary to middle school, now we do also do 2 unit study activities a day. and we do read alouds and those sorts of things. And I'm not going to get into that because I did make some other videos about what we do. But the main point of relaxed homeschooling is that you have just the right amount of structure to keep a large family like mine going, to keep it, I don't know what the word is, but to keep it kind of oiled and moving, you just keep things moving along. You need to have structure. And it also really gives your kids direction. Those unit studies that we do, they give my kids ideas. So often, my kids will start doing things in their free time that they got the ideas off of our unit studies. So I think that when you are giving your kids some objectives of what they have to do, it really does inspire them, because a lot of times it brings up things that they would not think of on their own. So that is really why we have settled on relaxed homeschooling. It really is just, it's a calm, as calm as my house can get, but it's a calm atmosphere, and it's much more settled, I think you could say, much more peaceful. And again, this is a relative term. Peaceful in my house isn't peaceful in a house with like 1 or 2 kids, but I think you get my meaning. It really is a lot less stressful. You don't have to worry about all of these separate books, and it's just really a natural way to learn. Natural learning with just a bit of structure, just what your kids need. So that is why I've settled on relaxed homeschooling. It really has saved my homeschool. I know that if I would have gone back to school at home, and even if I would have stayed in unschooling, I very well may have burned out again. But I have found just the right amount of both, the right amount of textbook learning, not even textbooks, we kind of use a little workbook, notebooking, but handwritten work, is that seat work, and then the right amount of natural learning, lots of times to explore. But really, I cannot recommend this method enough to you, especially if you feel like you're pulling your hair out because you just don't think you can do it anymore. So that's why we started doing relaxed homeschooling. We've been doing it for several years now. Leave a comment and let me know if you are relaxed homeschoolers, or if not, if you've ever tried it, or what sort of homeschoolers you are, if you even put yourself in a box like that. But leave a comment, and I hope you have a great day.